Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Ghost Rider Volume 3, Number 4, cover dated August 1990. The cover is by Javier Saltares, penciling and inking this, and I like this cover. This is the best cover since issue number 1. The covers to 2 and 3, not really fantastic in my opinion, but this is dynamic, this is eye-catching. Our two primary figures really fill that cover there. I like the little smaller figures in the bottom of the cover here, establishing how high up Ghost Rider and Mr Hyde are. Yeah, this is good stuff. Just a little weird colouring choice here to colour the seat that Ghost Rider's sitting on brown instead of the usual cool blue and black. I don't think that the cover is coloured by Greg Wright. His palette is pretty distinctive. Let's open this one up to the first page, and we do get a splash page here, set in Brooklyn. And the title of the story is You Can Run, But You Can't Hide. The creative team over here on this sign. So Howard Mackie writer, Javier Saltares doing breakdowns only after the first 3 issues. Remember, issue number 1 was double-sized. So obviously the work schedule is catching up on him. So he's doing pencil breakdowns only, so he's responsible for the panel layouts and the storytelling, but it's Mark Texeira who's doing the finishes. So we're going to see a little bit more of Texeira's style on the pages because of that division of labor between Saltares and Texeira. Michael Heisler doing the letters and Gregory Wright on colors. Really like that Gregory Wright color palette, the cool blues here of the night environment and scene. So we've got a bit of racial prejudice opening the story for us here with this group of neo-Nazis. You can see the swastika there on that guy's jacket, and they're about to start beating on this family here. So let's see how that turns out. The man here protecting his wife and baby. Let's turn the page, and yeah, so you get a nice bit of storytelling here with these 2 horizontal panels. The leader there is pulling back the baseball bat in order to, like, it's crazy stuff, in order to beat up the woman and the child. Like, these guys are really bad people. And then in the background we hear the revving of a motorcycle engine and that little chink as well as Ghost Rider removes the chain from his jacket and starts swinging it around and coming at the street thugs there. That's a really great panel. Be nice to see that blown up as a splash page itself. Maybe that's where they should have started. But in any case, so he wraps the chain around the gang leader, one of the gang thugs, and starts pulling him, dragging him along into the dark under the bridge. And then I really like this storytelling where here he is coming back to grab another one. He grabs him around the neck as well. Come, he simply says, and drives off again into the dark. So that leaves the leader. I got to get out of here before that freak comes back for me too. So he jumps over this chain link fence. I can lose him in these factory yards easy. So there he is running between packing crates. I really like the cool blues of Gregory Wright's color choices there. And then the guy just basically runs into Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider's moving swiftly around the whole scene, and here he is up on some packing crates. We've got a nice upshot of him pointing at the guy. It's time for you to join your friends. Again, that would make a great anchor image here. I really like the angle on Ghost Rider and the bike. So the guy starts running back the way he came. He's going to go back over that chain link fence again. Ghost Rider here on the motorbike bounces down from the crate right over the guy. He's still holding the baseball bat there. What I really like about the color palette in Ghost Rider is you have consistently in nighttime scenes the hot yellows and oranges of Ghost Rider's flaming skull and the wheels of his enchanted or mystical motorbike, and then the cool blues of the night sky. It's really good stuff, and I like the way that the light from the motorcycle is casting an orange glow on the packing crates. It's really, really well done. So let's get past these advertisements And I really like the storytelling here in Javier Saltares pencils. So the guy smashes the bat over Ghost Rider's back, of course. That's not really going to harm Ghost Rider too badly, but it does knock him off the bike onto the ground. So that's a difficult shot to do. The bike is laying flat on the ground. Ghost Rider here climbing up from the bike. The guy's got a big grin on his face. He thinks he's going to make it out of the factory yards. Went down just like any other spaz, he says. If I hurry enough, I can finish off those 3. So this is crazy. Like, the guy still wants to go back and beat up the family. That's bananas. So in any case, and this is really interesting because it implies how fast Ghost Rider can move. There he is. He's on the other side of the chain link fence and grabs the guy even before he drops to the ground. You can't escape the spirit of vengeance. So that's plain. And now he uses the penance stare on the neo-Nazi guy. The guy pleads, "Get away, leave me alone, I didn't do nothing." What a liar. And Ghost Rider says to him with that rictus across his teeth, "Then you have nothing to worry about." So Ghost Rider being ironic there. I like the screen tone here in the background, and used also for the shadows on Ghost Rider's bony skull. It's good stuff. And then we get to our antagonist from the cover later that night, a neighborhood bar on Manhattan's Lower East Side. So I was looking at the signage in the street front window and wondering whether it might be Josie's bar from the Daredevil comics, but it isn't. And I think that was like a little missed trick there, that you could have implied good kind of Marvel Universe continuity if it were Josie's bar, which is also down the Lower East Side of Manhattan. So anyway, this is Dr. Zabo, and he is pestering one of the waitresses in the bar, and then he gets all angry when she swaps him in the jaw there. "You dare strike me," he asks. "Bad enough that I was humiliated by that worm Cobra and then battered by the Hulk." So this is references to recent appearances in Marvel continuity. So we get the references down there to Captain America 365 to 367 and Incredible Hulk 368. That one I've read. That's a Peter David authored issue of Hulk. "That grey freak will pay once I've fully recovered. But you, woman, will taste my fury now." So he's winding up to strike her there, even as he has her by the throat. But whose big meaty hand is this that grabs him? Let's turn the page and see. It is a biker guy, as it turns out. "You've had way too much hooch, my man," he says. "Gina's like family to me and my gang, so why don't you take your scrawny butt out of here while it's still in one piece?" So this is a huge hulking figure of a man, and he's a match for Dr. Calvin Zabo, but not for his alter ego. That face there, very reminiscent of Neil Adams and also early Bill Sienkiewicz. And Mark Texeira, certainly influenced by Neil Adams and Bill Sienkiewicz. "Now take off while I'm still feeling friendly," says the guy as he throws Zabo out into the street. So we get a nice top-down angle. The bar door is closed. We have the street light there. The motorbikes from the biker gang there parked at the curbside. It's all really good details in the art on this issue. Now, back inside the tavern, or the pub rather. Who's this in the foreground with a bottle in his hand? Laugh while you can. No one manhandles Dr. Calvin Zabo. So there he is. He smashes the full bottle over the head of the biker leader, even as he was cueing his pool cue. He was rather chalking his pool cue. And now another nice top-down shot. This guy looks like he's going to give Zabo quite the beating. That's a nice three-quarter profile upshot there. "He's mine," he says, as he runs towards him and throws him all the way out the window. "Get the bikes," he orders the other gang members. "I want that squirt's ears on my handlebar." That's good stuff. So, what's happening over in Brooklyn at the Cypress Hills Cemetery? Well, we have Ghost Rider transforming back into his human host, Danny Ketch. And we also have in this particular panel a little joke from Michael Heisler regarding Fabian Nicieza and having to letter Fabian Nicieza's script. Nicieza there on the headstone. Too many words in quotation marks. So that's funny. So Danny here, you know, it's early days for his hosting the Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance, and he is not fully on board with it. So he's thinking here to himself, Barb's out of danger, that's his sister. Deathwatch and Blackout aren't threatening us any longer. Those were the villains of the first 3 issues. He continues and thinks, why do I keep allowing myself to undergo the transformation into him? I do have a choice, don't I? As he touches the gas cap, but it's not like he hurts anyone who doesn't deserve to be hurt. I can't believe I think anyone deserves what he does to them. I've got to get rid of this bike, he thinks, as he pulls back in horror, and I've got to do it tonight. Okay, so also on the headstones, we've got Frazetta. So Frank Frazetta, another influence on Mark Texeira. And it looks like this is also Frank here, 1928 to some other year. I wonder, is that Frazetta's birth year, 1928? Could be. Meanwhile, so Zabo is running on the street in lower east side Manhattan. The biker gang is coming after him. Again, we see that color palette of Gregory Wright's that I really like here. We've got the oranges and yellows of the street lights and the light they're casting on the buildings. And then we've got Zabo here running into a side alley. And then the color palette switches to green and blue and purple when he's in darkness in the alley. Then he spots a parking garage, and he sneaks in a gap between the chain link door entrance. Elsewhere, Danny Ketch is riding across the Brooklyn Bridge to the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and there faithfully he enters into the same parking garage. So he's got a friend there from class, or rather from Sister Alice's first grade class. Yeah, so they're friends from junior school. Isn't that what you call it? Junior high school or something like that. In Ireland we call it primary school. So his friend there is, yeah, you don't even have to ask for a favour, Danny. And he says to him, I'm sorry I haven't been by much since your sister got hurt. Stacey's been keeping me posted, but with work and school, it's just, don't worry about it, says Danny. Anyway, what brings my Brooklyn buddy into the cold, dark, big city? And since when do you ride a bike? So Danny says he's not comfortable riding the bike now with Barb in the hospital. He's been way too distracted. He was wondering if he could store it here for a while. I'd pay whatever it costs, as long as it's safe and no one can get at it. And his friend says, don't blame me, Danny, it's a gorgeous bike, and I got just the place for exactly the right price. Okay, so let's turn the page, and this is really interesting from Howard Mackie. We get a procedural here, a whole page given over to what becomes of the bike, and it's all very realistic. So they go down to the basement level. Danny's friend says it's pretty much unused. Once a year the owner comes down and checks on his collections of old wrecks. Like lots and lots of detail here. It's very realistic. We'll put the bike in this storage cage, so that's all set up. So Danny wheels the bike in. Throw a drop cloth on it, so even this thing has a name, and it'll be locked up safer than the Royal Jewels. So there's a combination lock to the storage cage. So Danny expresses his appreciation to Jack. It's no big deal, Dan. It ain't like it's an illegal weapon or something. Anyway, how's your mom holding up? Like I said, I've been wanting to stop by. And then rumble. It is the biker gang arrives. But yeah, I find this really fascinating procedural about how to store a bike. It must be something that, I don't know, that Howard Mackie researched or happened in his own life. It's too specific. But they're good to know if you want to store a bike somewhere in New York City. This is how you do it. So the biker gang arrives. They obviously spotted Zabo going into the garage, and so the leader here says on his trike, he says, there's a guy we're after who's hiding in here somewhere. You just stand back and let us find a little twerp and we'll leave real peaceful like. So Jack says, no way. I like the detail of the tire treads here on the wheels of the trike. Don't be such a tough guy, pretty boy, says one of the gang members. Relax and you won't lose them looks. And really good storytelling here from Javier Saltares as Jack stamps on the biker's foot and then bumps his back into him in the gut, and then elbows him in the face. That's really good storytelling again as well. The flow there is good. It's realistic too in a way. Let's turn the page, get past the advertisement here. And now, he's not going to have such luck against the leader of the gang. So he grabs Jack, punches him, knocks him unconscious. Then he says to Danny, how about you, shrimp? You want to be stupid too? So Danny wisely says no. So they're locked in the office there. The crowbar ensures that they're not going to be able to break out of the door. And Danny just thinks immediately, like, he came all the way from Brooklyn to the Lower East Side of Manhattan in order to store the bike, and now he needs the bike. So it all seems very ironic to this point. Meanwhile, back to the biker gang looking for Zabo. There he is, hiding in the shadows behind a car, and he's thinking to himself, that's a really nice panel as well, the close-up on his eye and his flaring nostril there, very good. I'm so close, he thinks, I can feel Hyde straining to come out. So the bike leader is saying, anyone who finds the guy, he's mine. And then we have some unsuspecting people come into the parking garage looking to park the car, of course. Come on, Scott, says the girl. You have a monthly parking spot. Why not park it yourself? So off he goes to do it rather than to have Jack do it. Danny hears them and he thinks, or rather he shouts out, no, don't go up there, let me out of here. So off they go. The music is on the radio, and so they can't hear Danny shouting at them. And again, good procedural stuff here, where he slips his arm out the glass here where tickets would be given and money given, and he's reaching around for the crowbar. So he's really stretching for it there. You can see his hand shaking as well. That's really, really good stuff. I need the bike, he says. Then on the upper level, the lights are out, but up arrives these unsuspecting innocents in the car with the music on. Hey, Fraser, looks like we got some company. Get rid of them quick so we can find the wimp. So here's Zabo on his knees. Come to me now, he's thinking as he's shaking there at the beginning of the transformation. And I really like the storytelling here, where we have a congruence between the visual on the bike with the drop cloth over it, and then Zabo on his knees with his cloak spread out, like there's a kind of like a visual congruence. And then with Zabo yelling as the transformation begins, and the mystical flames emerging from the gas cap on the bike, and then the explosion of the storage cage. So the bike has transformed. That noise, it sounded like a scream, says Danny. The people in the car there, and then outside of the little office, he sees the bike. The bike, it's here. How? So if he can touch the gas cap, he'll transform into Ghost Rider. So we see that happening there, and punching his way out the door. So the crowbar is not enough to hold the Ghost Rider, and he's on the bike and zipping up to the upper levels of the parking garage. So a really good action sequence there. Like this lettering here as well from Michael Heisler. No more innocent people will be hurt today, says Ghost Rider. It's kind of strange diction the Ghost Rider has. I almost feel it's too simple, will be hurt today. Why doesn't he say something like a little bit more flowery, like no more innocents will suffer today? That sounds better to me, but in any case, he's on his way up to the upper level. Hyde is transformed, so the gang leader's in big trouble now. He's there, pulls the driver out of the car and drives the car right into Mr. Hyde. Good try, maggot, says Hyde, but not good enough. It's payback time, and you and your little friends are going to be on the receiving end of a whole lot of pain. But Ghost Rider intervenes. No, those others are innocent, he says. And Hyde throws Ghost Rider through the windshield of one of the parked cars. And then he starts attacking Zabo. This fight can continue as he lassos him around the ankles with his chain, but not here, and he pulls him away. So we saw that tactic at the beginning of the story, but how's it going to work with Mr. Hyde, who, you know, has gone toe-to-toe with the Hulk. I don't feel like leaving yet. So he grabs, or rather he swings around one of these pillars and pulls Ghost Rider off the bike and slams right into him. But I don't mind caving in your skull before I take care of the others, he says. That's really violent phrasing. I like that. I like that from Mackie. That's good stuff. Easier said than done, says Ghost Rider as he dodges Hyde's punch. This is funny from Michael Heisler. This sound effect here, pow, and you've got the little tongue slipping out of the O of the pow. That's nice, that's funny, that's good. I'll teach you the meaning of pain, says Ghost Rider. Physical pain is only the beginning. The mental anguish will. So he's about to use the penance there. But Mr. Hyde is in a different league from any of the others that Ghost Rider has faced so far. So the kind of like the antagonist now is a different proposition, and we're going to learn now what is Ghost Rider's power level in this matchup. Enough, says Hyde as he lifts Ghost Rider from the ground. Stop preaching to me. I am Hyde. I've fought the likes of Thor, Hercules, and the Hulk. Do you expect me to believe that a motorcycle riding freak could hurt me more than they could? Rhetorical question. Let's see how this pans out. So Ghost Rider simply says, this is funny stuff. Dryly, he says, yes. And Hyde starts arguing, well, you're wrong. But then his brain goes on fire from the penance there. And this is setting off a transformation back to Zabo. So Hyde makes a run for it. I love the little Dutch angle there as Ghost Rider gets back on the bike and just speeds it towards Mr. Hyde, and then crashes it into him and out the side of the parking garage. And that gives us our cover image. There it is. But I love the way that Ghost Rider is kind of like falling off the bike from the momentum and force of knocking Hyde out through the wall of the garage. Here's another little joke here. Bruce, somebody or other there. Somebody known to Texeira maybe. And then they drop onto the street. Meanwhile, the cops have arrived. And the sergeant says, move in and cuff them both. Is he kidding or what? So look at the way that they're falling on the ground. I love that. The bike falls flat on the ground. Ghost Rider on his back. Mr. Hyde is on the way down as well, but he's up very quickly and knocks away the squad cars. He says, I'm not going back to the vault, as he makes a run for it. But you're on my list, Flamehead. You're on my list. And you're on mine, Hyde. So that's it. Is Ghost Rider going after Mr. Hyde? I like the detail of the people looking out of their apartment windows there at the scene on the ground as well. Shortly, the biker leader says, I'm telling you, that Ghost Rider's one righteous dude. He saved all our lives, especially mine. Officer, please listen, my friend. And then Jack is back conscious again. He says, my friend Dan Ketch is missing. But here's Danny on the transformed bike. So he didn't go after Hyde, it appears. So he's back there to check on what's going on at the parking garage. Let's get that bike of yours back in storage, says Jack. No, Jack, says Danny. I decided I can't lock it away. Not yet anyway. So that's the lesson he learned from this particular issue. The bike, he needed it when he found himself locked up in the little office with Jack. So he's learned a lesson there. He's going to keep the bike. Now, last page, and this is the setup for the next issue. Elsewhere, again, love the color palette. Love these cool greens, blues, purples of Gregory Wright's colors on this page. So this woman with the child in the stroller walking down the street. This street is so dark, she says. So we're thinking, is Blackout back? But in any case, she turns around. There's a shadow there, screen tone over her, and she's knocked to the ground. Her purse there falls off her shoulder. But what do they take? Do they take the purse? No, it seems. They take the baby, her baby boy Jason. So the stroller's on the ground, the rattle on the ground. And yeah, Ghost Rider's going to be involved in this next month, you can bet. But also the Punisher. And that really is cool. Like, that really would have you waiting in great expectation for the next issue, the arrival of the Punisher. So very smartly, the creative team bringing in one of the other anti-heroes of the Marvel Universe, and we're going to have a crossover with Ghost Rider. But are they going to be friends, or is there going to be some antagonism with them? Well, we'll find out with the next issue. So there is 2 pages of letters here. These are all in response to issue number 1. Everybody really happy with issue number 1. There you go. And of course, like the slightly punning letters, column title of Easy Writers as well. So that's slightly clever. There you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Ghost Rider Volume 3, Issue number 4. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.